Hi, welcome to OFFTO's travel podcast. Today we have Madhu ma'am. Madhu ma'am is a travel and lifestyle expert. So let us know today more about her. Ma'am, let the user know about your travel experience, how you started, what was your motivation?
So, hi guys, my name is Madhu and I'm a travel and lifestyle content creator. And my handle and website is Madhu on the Go. I've been traveling all the while because everybody in my family loves traveling. So I started writing about travel back in 2015.
Okay.
So I started with a travel blog. I wrote a piece in Tripoto and it received a very good response.
Okay.
So I thought, why not to start my own blog and all. So I started my website, and later to promote the website, I use social media platforms, especially Instagram, Facebook, etc. And then they became the primary medium because now everybody is on Instagram and people want more of videos. Although writing is still there, the people when they have to travel, they still search for blogs and itineraries. But yeah, so currently I'm managing both the blog as well as my Instagram platform. So yeah, that's been the travel journey.
Ma'am, as we have seen your Instagram post, you have traveled a lot of places. So, ma'am, in 2024, can you recommend some destinations which you feel people should travel and put there in the bucket list?
Okay, so a couple of places which are there in my bucket list this year are we were looking for Kazakhstan.
Okay.
Because that's a place where you don't need visa, and I was just doing some research. It's just 2.5 hours flight from Delhi, so I think it's very convenient that way. So Kazakhstan, Georgia are the two places. My personal bucket list is Finland.
Okay.
I just saw somebody's travel itinerary, and I would love to visit Finland because it covers Northern Lights, Lapland, which is Santa Claus's home. So it's a very unique experience, and this year I'm hoping, or if not this year, it's on my bucket list.
Okay. So you have experienced Northern Lights also?
Not yet.
Okay.
So that is why I wanted to do it this year. I don't know if it will happen or not, but yeah.
And ma'am, when you plan for a trip, what's the biggest pain points when you plan or organize a trip?
So, like if you are planning for a new destination, then there's always there's this uncertainty that, okay, what kind of place it is it safe or not? So doing all the research, like especially if somebody known has not traveled to that place, then it's kind of, you need to find out everything. So a lot of research has to be done, whether you're choosing a place, whether it is authentic or not, whether it's whatever bookings you're making, are they genuine or not? So yeah, I think those are the major things. If you're traveling in the group, then obviously coordination and matching to everybody's preferences and all that is another thing. So I feel research is something which is kind of pain point, because you have to read, you have to do a lot of research, and still sometimes you're not sure that the hotel I've booked or the tour that I'm taking, will it be worth, is it genuine or not? So that is something, especially when you travel international. Yeah.
Ma'am, you said about genuine booking. So, ma'am, you have explored a lot of resorts, unique kind of resorts and hotels. And like, what do you believe, like having a genuine reviews and ratings, what we check in the app, how does it plays a major role in the in booking a stable itinerary for your travel plan? And how do you feel an app which shows a genuine rating would help the travelers?
So whenever we have to book anything, obviously you go by the pictures, then you go by the rating that is there, what kind of reviews are there. Still sometimes it may not match up to your expectation, because somebody would have reviewed it according to their point of view. So I feel more details about the place, or if somebody has gone to that place, you can take their reviews. So that matters. Of course, without review booking any place, it's kind of, I would not do that until and unless I have good reviews of the place, and I've kind of found out in multiple places that like everywhere it's a good review. And talking about the app, if there is one place, one consolidated place where you get a genuine review or details about the place, then yeah, why not?
Yeah. And ma'am, you have traveled, as you have said that you have traveled a lot of places. What's your memorable experience? Would you like to share, from one of your travel?
Okay, so it's difficult to share one experience because every trip is unique in its own way. Every trip has its own memories. So sharing one would be really difficult. But yeah, recently I visited Hawaii, which was my dream destination, and I always wanted, like, it was on top of my list. And fortunately, my sister was getting married there. So I really loved that place and everything about it. So that is my most recent and most one of the most memorable experiences, I would say. It's a beautiful place, and the entire experience was amazing.
Okay. And ma'am, while booking a lot of places on your app, like, do you feel, some functionality is missing in, today's travel apps?
I would say, each app is different, and mostly, when you're searching for the place, we go to Google for the things. But sometimes, when you book the place and when you reach that hotel, and if there is any issue, I feel coordination is a lot of, it's a challenge. Like, if you have to cancel, if you have to make any changes, or if you have to give a simple message to the hotel, like, I want a king size bed, I don't want queen size, or I don't want 2 single beds, I want 1, or vice versa. So communicating that message to the hotel directly, I feel that's a kind of challenge, and sometimes you lag. Like, I've used couple of apps, and then there have been cases where you don't know whom to contact. So that part sometimes is missing, which needs more seamless coordination and more, instant replies, I would say. Yeah.
Ma'am, as a travel and lifestyle expert, how do you manage your budgets when you're traveling?
That's a difficult thing. I would say that, of course, again, you need a lot of research, and you should know your bank balance also. So accordingly, I allocate kind of one budget for a particular trip, and then I try to plan backwards, like, okay, this is my final number, so what should I do, what kind of flight, what kind of hotels I should pick up, what kind of restaurant experiences I should take to manage within that particular budget.
You feel like this feature should be in a travel app that should keep a track on all your expenses and budgets?
Yes.
And that would be a really...
Yeah, I think that will be really good, because usually we plan certain budget, but you go overboard. You lose track, especially if you go to the locations like you just mentioned, Goa. It's a party place, so you don't know when and where your budget will go off the track. So it's very, I think if there's some app or something where you can track the budget, maybe you can define a daily limit, and you can just punch in and that, okay, this is my daily limit. Or if I've overspent, from the bottom line, from my overall budget, it will be good. I think it keeps reminding you of not going beyond your limits. So if there is any app where you can track it, I think nothing like it.
And ma'am, I'm sure like you have traveled a lot of offbeat places also, where you will find a limited internet connections. So like, how do you manage, and do you feel that travel apps should have a functionality of offline functionality should be there? And how it would help?
So many a times, like, while I've been lost, especially while traveling to Coorg, not now, like couple of years back. So there used to be no network, and if wherever place we have booked, we have to go back to the network area, then call the hotel or the homestay person. They will come pick you, and you don't know, because these places you can't find a single person. Same thing I experienced in South Goa. where the
Yeah.
moment you go, like enter the place, there's no network. So again, in those kind of places where you don't see people around, it becomes very difficult.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel it's unsafe also, because if you're traveling during the night, you don't know the area.
Yeah.
It's kind of always better if you have a map, if you don't have to stop and ask somebody. So yeah, with Google, I've tried downloading offline maps couple of times, but unfortunately for me, it doesn't work somehow. So
Would you like to share, ma'am, one of your experiences like you faced the offline thing?
like I've visited Goa multiple times, so I know South Goa doesn't have the network.
Okay.
So I tried downloading my
Okay.
Google Apps to the place where we were going. We were going to the Pebble Beach in
Okay.
Kabutirama.
Okay.
So I downloaded, and I was like very happy that this time I don't have to ask anybody and all that. But the moment we went offline, the map didn't work.
Okay.
So again, we landed up in the same situation where the map is not working, and we have to ask people where to go, which side to go. Thankfully, it was the daytime, so it's fine.
Okay.
But there are a couple of times when, like when we were coming, we were staying in this beach called Agonda Beach,
Yeah.
which is very, again, during the rains. We went during the rains.
Okay.
So there are no shacks, no people, no
Yeah.
restaurant. It's
Yeah.
completely off the thing. So we went to Palolem Beach, and we were coming back, and it was like pitch dark.
Okay.
And again, we don't know. So we are like, okay, ye wale turn se, did we like took this turn, or it was some other turn, and it's like a deep jungle. So it becomes scary at times. So I feel if there is something where offline maps work, or you're sure that it will work, I think it will be much better and much safer option for the travelers, especially if you're traveling solo. Then I think it's a must.
Yeah. So, ma'am, as you said, like you have traveled also offbeat places, and like we saw in your post, like you have been using camper van also.
Yes.
So, like, would you like to share, like in India, there is people don't use camper vans for traveling and all. Would you like to share the experience?
Yes. So if you go to like abroad, camper vans are very, very common.
Yeah.
People, like, I think every house will have an RV, and they prefer traveling that because it's much cheaper. If you go to hotels and all, everything costs so much. So people travel as a family in RVs, and there are these facilities where you have proper camping grounds. You pay a certain fee and you can park your vehicle there. They have all the facilities. It's like guarded and all that, so it's much safer option. But in India, I feel we don't have that kind of facility. It's not that you can stop your van anywhere and just stay, because again, it's a safety issue. You don't know if it's safe or not. And I have not come across many camping grounds where you can park your vehicle and you can spend the night and come back. So but recently it's starting in India. It's also picking up, which is a good thing. So but you still need the facilities. So when I used the camper van, we drove from here to BR Hills.
Okay, from Bangalore to BR Hills.
Bangalore to BR Hills. And then our van was parked basically in the Jungle Lodges resort. So there is nothing like you are in some barren land or you're like completely into the wild. It was more like Jungle Lodges itself is very wild. You have all these wild animals coming to the resort only. But it was a proper established area. So we had an option whether we want to cook our food. We can do a little bit of cooking.
Oh, it was attached to your van also?
So the van has like a small cooking station and a small stove. And a little bit of utensils. So you can cook Maggi or some pre-heat, some pre-cooked meal, or a little bit of cooking you can do. Otherwise, we had an option to go to the resort's restaurant and have food there. And so it has a small sleeping place. Unfortunately, it was raining, so the whole thing became very messy for us. But it was a good experience, a different kind of experience.
And ma'am, any scary moment from your travel experiences? Like you went and you got some scary experiences?
Okay, so this is like long back. we traveled as a family. We went to Wayanad. It's quite long, like
Yeah.
it's 7-8 years back. So that time Wayanad was not very popular.
Yeah.
Again, there was no network. There were like no people around and all that. And we stayed in one resort, which was. So that time I think we went off the season, and in the whole resort there are these thatch roof cottages,
Okay.
and we were the only people. There was nobody.
Okay.
So it was very scary. Like it is pitch dark, and then it was raining. So there are these various noises coming in
From the woods.
from the woods, and it's in between. It's like one side was the dam, the water reservoir, and the other side is completely like jungle, and nobody is there, and all the cottages are pitch dark. And if we have to go to the cafeteria, which was again small cafeteria, we have to walk through. So it was quite a scary experience. And their washroom has these small glass roofs, like glass ceilings, which is even more scary because it was completely dark. So, and we were only 4 of us. So it was quite we were scared, and we were waiting like, okay, let's let the morning come, and we just want to run away from this place. So yeah.
And ma'am, talking about the scary moments, people travel a lot. So do you feel like what steps they should keep in their mind before traveling to offbeat places? Any safety measures you feel that is very important?
I think if you're traveling to an offbeat place or any place in general, first of all, your research should be quite strong, because everything is about research. For the solo travelers, general tips is like, don't mention your location, where are you, like live locations. So it's like we always post our stories 2 days, 3 days afterwards, not immediately. And have somebody whom you can contact in terms of emergency. If there is a local contact, if you have a local agency or somebody whom you can get in touch, it's always better. Keep your money safe. That is also very important, because a lot of places we expect them to be like big countries and big places, but then they are not safe. For example, Paris. So one of my friends said she was just walking with her solitaire and somebody just took it off and they went away. So a lot of pickpocketing happens in especially these popular places. New York, it's not very
it's common.
It's a very vibrant place. You can feel the energy, but again, it's very high in crime. So if you're going to these kind of places, it's always better to be conscious of your surroundings. Just have a look around and see up to what level I should, experiment, or how much should I drink, who is there to take me back home. So those basic things, general things, I think they are very important.
Anything like you feel like something you told about a lot of pickpocket things and all. So like anything that happened to you or something?
Thankfully not, but yes, when we were in New York, we were visiting New York, and then at one moment we went to this the railway, the metro. Subway. And it is like very old and very dark, and you know how you see in the movies. So it felt very unsafe because nobody was there, and it was like a very old kind of metro system. We were not sure of which way we have to go. So then we like came back and we were like, okay, let's take an Uber and kind of go through. So that's being the kind of.
And ma'am, in today's social media world, do you feel there should be an app which should be purely dedicated to the travel and lifestyle? Today we have social media a lot of contents.
Yes.
But do you feel there should be an feature or app that should focus on the the travel and lifestyle?
Yeah.
So how do you feel it will help? Yeah.
I think it will be very helpful, because usually like when we have to look for places, we depend either on something we saw on Instagram or something we we Googled. So if there is a particular app which is, and in Google also you get all sorts of things. You don't know which one is right or which one is wrong. Because when I when I research for my blogs, there are a lot of blogs or a lot of itineraries which are so wrong. And once you visit that place, you know that, okay, this is not the right thing. Or maybe this picture of this place is not right. So authenticity again matters a lot. And on Instagram also you tend to drift, right? Because you saw one video and then there's something else and there's something else. And there is no way to search. Like if I have to find out, say, best places to visit in a particular city or a particular country, now I cannot search it. Like the searches are not authentic. You will get some pictures, something random. So it's a lot of I think time consuming.
And that would not match to the reality
pictures. That will not match. And sometimes it's just some what works we don't know. So sometimes it's not up to the mark. Sometimes you have to spend a lot of time. And also in Google search also you have to spend a lot of time. So if there is a place which is dedicated to like only travel related things, where can I find the good resort, where I can something which provides verified, authentic information, I think that can save a lot of time for travelers who are new, who don't know, or like how to search, where to plan. It can be very helpful in that ways.
And ma'am, how do you feel that our app OFFTO can, if users download it, how people can get a help from that, and how travelers will be affected from that?
So like you were just mentioning about your app, I think it's a very good medium where it kind of bridges the gap between the travel content creators and as well as their audience. In the same time, it's providing help in terms of authentic reviews, like you mentioned, from the verified profiles, and an option to book the hotel. Also, you mentioned the offline feature, which I think I would love to see and love to use, because I've not been able to use it so far. So if there is something which provides offline guide, offline maps, along with the best hotels or best places that can match your budget and your requirement, I think it can be very helpful medium for the travelers as well as for content creators, because you mentioned that it's kind of place where you have only travel related content. So I think there's quite a possibility of getting dedicated niche followers and not like random people, and you will have more conversions that way.
Ma'am, talking about the recommendations, like when you travel to a place, how do you get the recommendations for the food and local cuisines? Like how do you find the recommendations?
So again, like I said, it's more like do your own research, search in Google, search from the people who would have already traveled. So like for us, it's more like some of the friends or somebody would have gone there. So search for those places, or something you came across on one of the social media platforms. Maybe save that okay, you would visit that. So ultimately, everything comes down like to the reviews. You go to the reviews and you see like whether this place is worth or not. Sometimes the pictures look very good, but when you read the reviews, they are not so good, and then you think that
so reviews plays a lot of role in
of course, because it's word of mouth, and you trust. Like ads can be paid for, ads can be curated, right?
Even the reviews can be
exactly
paid.
So I think for me, more than positive reviews, I pay attention to the negative reviews, because negative review is something when somebody is really rattled, they take the pain to go and write a review. So I think when a place has both type of reviews, you have to see if it has more negative reviews, then maybe it's not really up to the mark. So that is something I prefer seeing and looking for when I travel. Yes.
So that's all for today. Thank you, ma'am, for coming to our show. And it was a pleasure to talk with you and know your experiences.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure as well, discussing different travel aspects with you, and wishing you all the best for your app. And I'm looking forward to being a part of it.
Sure.